Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by the following supporters of WEIU.
Welcome to another edition of Panther Sports Talk right here in WIU. I'm your host, Rich Moser, joined every week by EIU football coach Kim Dameron. And Coach, coming off a tough loss in an emotional rivalry game against Illinois State, and you kind of knew going into the game that in addition to the football game, the emotions around it, because it's a rivalry game, were going to be high. And Illinois State came out, drove right down the field, and I thought after that drive, your guys defensively did a good job of responding and kind of, I guess, changing the tempo of the game, so to speak, after that initial drive.
Absolutely. The way we started the football game wasn't the best. I mean, we go out and we kick off and we kick the ball out of bounds. We give it to them on the 35. They take the ball down. We have a couple of, I wouldn't say missed assignments, but just missed techniques on their read zone play where we didn't tackle the back we were supposed to. And all of a sudden they go down, they put the ball in the end zone, so we're down 7-0. And that's not exactly the way we wanted to start. So we come out and then all of a sudden we drop the snap from the punter and give them another short field. And we actually go in and get them stopped at that point. And so we started to regain a little bit of the momentum. But when we got down inside their red zone, had a penalty back us out of what was an apparent touchdown. That hurt. Really hurt some. We could have stole back some momentum. Momentum is such a huge thing. I heard Ray Lewis talking about it last night after the game last night on Monday night. It is. And when you have a play or a series of plays where a team has positive things happen to it in a row, and that's hard to get that stop. But I thought our defense, for the most part, did a good job of starting to contain their run game. I thought we did a really good job containing their quarterback. The thing that hurt us, obviously, is we can't give up big plays in the passing game.
Now, offensively, you came in and the first thing you kind of said in the post-game press conference there is that too many turnovers, too many penalties, that really just shot yourself in the foot offensively. I guess those are things that happened during the course of the game. Are they things that you kind of really can put emphasis on to correct during practice now this week?
Well, and again, the thing that probably was the most frustrating is that that's what we did last week. I mean, we really put an emphasis on it. So, again, the thing that right now I feel like that we have to do is we have to not flinch. We have to show confidence. We have to continue to go out and practice at a high level, and we'll get better. And, those guys don't want to turn that football over. They really don't. But it happened, and we have to make sure that, whether it be the play call or whether it be what we're asking them to do or whatever it may be, or when they are doing it, the way that we're doing things, we just got to make sure that in the front of our mind at all times is protect that football.
Now, I know one of the turnovers in particular, Taylor Duncan turns it over on the 1-yard line, and you could see his frustration. He's a kid that normally doesn't turn it over. And was that kind of one of those things where maybe trying to do a little too much led to a turnover? Because he had a pretty good game, and I know that's all he's going to remember from that game personally. Right,
and he's going to remember, which is sad, but he's going to remember that, that play more so than any of the others that he had good plays. And he had a lot more good plays than he had that, bad plays. So, that's the nature of this game, and that's the nature of the way things happen. And we just have to finish drives, and we have to just continue to again stay on message and keep doing the things that we know wins football games. Coach fundamentals. Taylor didn't want to fumble that football. It just, it rolled over. He rolled over a couple people. It's questionable whether it was out or not or whatever. I mean, it's a call, and they called it and they said it was. And I will say this: I don't fault our kids' effort. I don't fault their attitude. Right now, what we've got to do is just keep pounding away at that rock and making sure that we stay consistent at what we do, and it'll gel and it'll come together.
Now, one of the bright spots you did have, and I know you you don't want to ever rely on your field goal kicker. I know as a coach, you always want to get 7,
Absolutely.
not 3. But you got to be confident and happy that you got a young freshman kicker. He had one opportunity at Minnesota and had the leg on it, was just a little bit off to the right, but put both of the 2 this weekend he had right down the middle. So at least you know maybe as a coach you've got that in your back pocket if you're not able to get 7.
In every game, there's highs and lows. In every game, there are bright spots, and we had some bright spots. We actually got better, other than dropping the snap from center the one time and getting it, basically blocked. The punt return average, we actually won that battle. And even like in kickoff return, we got the ball out to the 40 one time. Key brought it out and really did a good job. But yeah, I was really proud of Nick and the way he went in and kicked 2 field goals in a pressure-packed game. And he's a true freshman, but that's why we brought him here, and that's why he has that job, is because we believe in him and we believe that when he goes out there that he'll put it through those uprights.
Now, statistically, one of the other guys you talked about at the start of the year who you thought was going to have really a breakout year is Robert Haynes, and numbers-wise, he's making the plays that seem to matter. I know tackles, his numbers are a little bit down, and maybe that's part of the position he's in. But when he's making tackles, he has 13 tackles on the season. 6 of them are for tackles for loss. So he's making plays when he is making a tackle.
He's being very disruptive. And don't think for an instant that when offenses line up, they don't look out there and go, okay, there's 30, And so he's got a reputation. The thing that we've asked him to do is to be more upfront, more of a pass rusher, more of a disruptor than being back and being able to flow sideline to sideline to make tackles. And, I feel like that right now defensively we're doing some really good things with him. Like you said, he's being disruptive, and he might not make as many total tackles as he did a year ago, but if you look at where those tackles are happening, like you said, he's now making tackles for losses and sacks. He and Fedney Delphonse right now, I feel like, are 2 guys that can really put pressure on a passer. And when you put a Dino Fonte in there with them, and then a Laquise Taylor, and be able to push the pocket, I think we've got a pretty decent pass rush. I thought those guys did a really good job of keeping a really mobile quarterback under wraps pretty good last week.
And you talk about that, you guys were able to actually outgain them for the 3rd week in a row. I know that those are moral victories. I know coaches don't want moral victories, but
I don't care about stats. I want points.
But it shows that there's some things that you can that as a whole the scheme is working. It's just little things like you talked about that you really just need to tweak to turn those first downs into touchdowns.
We've got to finish. We've got to finish through the game really hasn't changed in a long time. Offense has changed, defense has changed, but the game and how you win, the team with the most points at the end, that's the one that they say is the winner. And so, statistics, you can throw those out a lot of times, but we've got to make sure we don't turn the football over. We got to make sure that we don't have foolish penalties. We're going to have some hustle penalties. We had a hold, we had a chop block. Those guys were busting their hump trying to make a play. I can live with stuff like that. It's the pre-snap penalties that kill you. Mm-hmm. We've got to make sure that we don't have missed assignments. We haven't had a ton of missed assignments. That's not what's killing us, is the guy just doing an absolute totally wrong thing. But the goal line, we've got to be better in the goal line, red zone, and we've got to be better at finishing drives, and we've got to be better at not giving up big plays.
Now you guys turn your focus this weekend, family weekend, conference opener against Austin Peay. Normally going into a game like this, they've lost 14 straight games. If Eastern had been 2-1 or even come off a big win last week, I would kind of ask my question would have been, how do you get the team not to overlook the team that's 0-14? But you guys, your team's going to be just as hungry coming in on a losing streak as well.
They better be. We have to play faceless opponents. We played 3 faceless opponents. We didn't make a big deal about, it's Minnesota and it's a Big Ten. We didn't try to make a big deal about SIU or even a rivalry game like ISU. The thing that we have to understand is we have to make sure that we're looking at us, and we get better every week. And I really felt like in some areas we got better last week, but in other areas we regressed, and we can't do that. We have to get better in the areas of turnovers. We have to get better in the areas of finishing drives. We have to get better in the area of scoring points, not stats. And so Yes, I'm glad to be now into the OVC. It's a conference opponent. I will say this. Their program is one who, yes, it's 0-14 in the last 14, but I see them getting better. They played 2 quality opponents also. They've played a top 25 FCS program and a Division I program in Memphis. And, they've struggled, and they haven't put up a ton of stats. But when you watch them play, they play hard. They're well coached defensively. They're well coached offensively. They got young players though, and they're playing a lot of young kids on offense. Defensively, they got 2 D tackles that are disruptive. They got a linebacker that's really good that's back from last year, and a safety that's a pretty good player. And as a group, they're getting better. And so what we have to do is just make sure we worry about us, not them.
I was going to ask that a little bit. This is a team that a lot of these guys have been on the last 2 championship teams. They really have blown Austin Peay out of the water. I think it was 63-7 one year, 60-15 the other year. So in their mind, you don't want to say they don't think Austin Peay is an equal opponent. So that's one of those things you probably have to make sure that you hammer into them, not to overlook this game this week.
When you're 0-3, you better not overlook, Little Sisters of the Poor. Yeah. I don't care who you play. We got to be hungry to win, and because that's what this game is about. It's not about who can put up the most yardage. It's about who can score the most points and who can win a football game. And until we do that, we can't look at anything but ourselves.
Now, you guys went with a 2-quarterback system. The second half, Jalen seemed to take over, partly based on that some of the things Illinois State was giving you guys. Have you guys seen enough of Austin Peay on tape to figure out which one or what plays are going to work a little bit better for you guys in terms of when you go out there on Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. I figured I was going to get the one-word answer there, Coach. Now, defensively, you guys have seen them. You said they've got young kids. I guess when you watch them on film, a lot of times young kids try to make plays. They don't necessarily go with an assignment. So that's got to make them a little bit dangerous in the fact that kids are just going to try to play for them. Well,
yeah, I mean, and it's not always just freshmen that do that. They're anytime they have some talented kids who are young, they're gonna. It's like I was listening to Kirby earlier, and they're gonna have moments of brilliance, and then it's going to be like, and that's the way all freshmen are. I can remember going back to 2000. We had a young man here named Nick Ricks, who ended up being a heck of a player here, but we had to start him about the 2nd or 3rd game of the season against Toledo, and he made a lot of big plays, but he also made some mistakes. And when you play with young players, you have to live with the mistakes, and you understand those mistakes. The thing that's frustrating sometimes is when you have some older players who are still making some mistakes. Those are the ones that we can't continue to have.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck this week against Austin Peay. The Panthers will be out there 1:30. It's a family weekend here on campus. Hopefully have a big crowd out there to support the Panthers as they open defense of their back-to-back OVC championships. You'll be able to see the game right here on WIU TV. Also hear it on the Panther Football Radio Network. Be right back with This Week in EIU Athletics.
He fakes a handoff, going back to pass in the end zone, throwing it deep up the left sideline, and it is intercepted. He's back to pass. He's going to throw it into the right corner of the end zone, and touchdown, Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois Panther football is on WEIU. It's the OVC opener for EIU as the back-to-back OVC champion Panthers battle the Governors, Austin Peay. It's the Panthers and Governors, Saturday at 1:30 on WEIU, your home for Panther football.
Panther fans, here's what's going on in Panther athletics. Panther football drops to 0-3 on the season as they fall in the 103rd edition of the Mid-America Classic to Illinois State 34-15. Volleyball now 5-4 on the season as they went 1-2 at the South Dakota State tourney. Their one win came against South Dakota. Women's soccer picked up a tie against UW Green Bay in a match at Lakeside Field this past weekend. The Panthers are now 0-6-1 on the season. Men's soccer drops to 2-3 on the year as they lost a non-conference game at Western Michigan 2-1. Cross country competed at the Bradley Intercollegiate this past Friday in Peoria. Paxton Menard was the top men's finisher in 5th place, while Maria Baldwin led the women's squad, finishing in 3rd. Women's rugby was at Lindenwood Tuesday night. For results of that match, check out EIUPanthers.com. Men's tennis hosted the EIU Fall Invitational this past weekend at Darling Courts. Women's tennis competed at the SIUE Fall Invitational this past weekend in Edwardsville. Women's golf finished 5th at the Western Illinois Tournament, with Chloe Wong leading the way for the Panthers in 10th place. Men's golf completed play at the SIUE Tournament early last week, finishing in 14th. The top finisher for the Panthers was Austin Sproles in 18th place. Now, here's what to watch for this week. On Friday, volleyball begins play at the Penn State Tourney. At 8 in the morning, they will take on East Carolina, and then at 3 p.m., the Panthers will play host and nationally ranked Penn State. Women's soccer with their 8th straight match at Lakeside Field as they battle Valparaiso at 3 p.m. Softball begins their fall schedule with a doubleheader against Olney Central College at Williams Field, with Game 1 slated to start at 4 p.m. Men's soccer is at Bowling Green for a 7 p.m. night match. On Saturday, women's golf begins a 2-day run at the Southern Illinois Tourney. Volleyball wraps up play at the Penn State Tourney as they take on the Blue Demons of DePaul at 10:30 in the morning, and then square off with another in-state foe, Illinois Chicago, at 4 p.m. Panther football begins OVC play as they welcome Austin Peay to O'Brien Field. Kickoff is set for 1:30. You can see the game on WEIU TV or listen to it on the radio at Hitmix 88.9 WEIU. On Sunday, women's golf concludes competition at the Southern Illinois Tourney. Men's golf begins a 3-day run at the Chicago State Fall Invite. Softball continues fall games as they host Parkland College at Williams Field for a doubleheader starting at 12 noon. Women's soccer heads up I-57 for a 1 p.m. match at Chicago State, and men's soccer with another non-conference contest at Cincinnati at 3 p.m. And next Monday, Tuesday, September 22nd and 23rd, men's golf finishes up competition at the Chicago State Fall Invite. Reporting for Panther Sports Talk, I'm Brad Kupiak.
And without further ado, please welcome the Hall of Fame class of 2014.
EIU Athletics inducted their 2014 Hall of Fame class before the football team's home opener against Southern Illinois, and this year's class was a star-studded one, to say the least.
Roll tape. I guess in 10 words or less, it's an honor to be honored, and I'm not exactly sure why they chose me. I feel like you look at all these people up here, and it's amazing what they've accomplished at Eastern and beyond, and I just feel, wow, like to be part of it. It's amazing when you have such a great opportunity, like I had, to swim at Eastern, and then this is like, you should never want this. You should never think that this would happen, so when it happens, it's like a huge cherry on top of a fabulous Sunday.
This is, actually, it's quite humbling. You know, you never think about it while you're playing. You just play, and then to have something like this, you know, happen after your playing career, it's real humbling. It makes me think of all the people that helped, all my coaches, all my teammates, some of who are here today. It's just it's a great honor.
In addition to Fichtel and Dory Boss, were track and field athlete Ron White, women's basketball player and track and field athlete Rachel Galligan, longtime men's basketball coach Rick Samuels, and friend of athletics Dr. Joni Comstock, who was a two-sport athlete during her time at EIU.
I think probably the biggest thing when I think about my experience at Eastern is really, you know, the women's athletic programs at that point were just getting a good start. And so we had all of the pieces that we needed, you know, the coaches and the facilities and the support that we needed to be competitive and to have really a very positive and great experience. And I think that having that, it then gave me the interest to have a career in college athletics and hope that I could do, at least in small ways, work hard to provide those same opportunities, fun experiences to other student athletes.
Well, it's a special recognition, no question. I spent a lifetime here, frankly, and so it's recognition for my life's work, and I'm obviously very proud of that.
Honestly, I don't think you can really put words to it. I mean, my heart and soul is here with Eastern Illinois University, and I've always said that these were the best memories of my life and some of the best years of my life so far. And you know, like I said, my heart and soul is here, and so to have this honor, I'm very humbled, and to be a part of such an amazing class of inductees is just incredible. It's been very emotional for me, and I'm just very thankful for everyone involved.
Each day that I continue to get to know more about the successes of great people that have been here and associated with Eastern Illinois University, I become more and more excited about where we continue to take this program. You are all the reasons why Panther Athletics and Eastern Illinois University can continue to rise.
Even though White was unable to make it to the ceremony, each of the inductees were glad to be honored, and each had a chance to look back on their time at EIU fondly.
You know, the people remember the 2001 team with Kyle Hill, Henry Domercant, that group. They were so exciting to watch. They were so fun to coach, fun to watch play out on the court. You know, back in the early 80s, though, when we had the Duckworths and Dirk Androffs and John Collins and a guard named Troy Richardson, that was a really good team. It didn't get the recognition it probably could have gotten because we didn't have an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament at that time. But, you know, over the years, I've enjoyed the association with many young men, some who excelled further in basketball, but most who are now excelling in life.
It was great. I mean, it's something that's kind of unique. I feel like it was something that was unique for me. I'm very blessed that I was able to do that, have the coaches that were patient enough with me to be able to do two sports. And I always loved track and field, and then coming here, being able to continue to throw shot put, and then to learn javelin. Mary Wallace and the track team did a great job at just teaching me a new passion and teaching me about something I still love to this day and still am very involved with to this day.
It's an incredibly special honor, and I think one of the things that brings back is just the memories of all of the people who supported me. Of course, you know, you start with my parents, and then after I got to Eastern, I really think back and the just excellent faculty members and the coaches that we had, and really the opportunity to grow up, have fun, and chase some dreams. With all of these things, you just hope, gosh, you know, that I can live up to such an honor, continue to stay connected to Eastern, and continue to make Eastern proud.
Ray's a legend, and so it's legendary to have him with me. My husband coached when Ray retired, and we've traveled literally around the world to swim, and Matt coached overseas, and even in New Zealand we ran into people that knew Ray, and so everyone knows Ray. But it's just, there's so many people that swam for Ray that still are involved in the sport, and it's a testament to how he was the type of coach that truly allowed you to enjoy what you were doing. He allowed you to enjoy everything about what you did day in and day out, practicing and going to meets and everything that goes along with it. So it's legendary.
It was awesome, I tell you. I'm looking at him now, and he looks the same. I get the same feelings. But it was quite an honor. He was a great leader, a great teacher, and he taught me things that I still carry with me today.
The inductees were honored in an on-field ceremony at halftime of the EIU football home opener against Southern Illinois. Reporting for Panther Sports Talk, I'm Brad Kupiak.
Hancock Stadium in Normal, where this afternoon it's the 103rd playing of the Mid-America Classic. The Eastern Illinois Panthers set to meet the Redbirds of Illinois State. Here's Roberson on the call. There's the snap. He's back to pass. Pressure through the middle. Throws. It's intercepted. This is Kamu Grugier-Hill at the 40, at the 30, down the near sideline at the 20. Pushed out of bounds by Coppridge inside the 15. First takeaway of the day. There's a penalty flag on the field as well as Kamu Grugier-Hill, the junior linebacker, picked the pass off on the near sideline. Ball's in the center of the field for a 31-yard try into the wind. Adam Drake will hold. Snap, placement, kicks up, kicked long enough, and the kick is good. He made that look easy.
Yeah, he did. That was straight down the middle. Very solid kick by Bruno.
Turnover by Grugier-Hill results in points. Bruno, a 36-yard try into the wind. Good snap, placed down, kicks up, long enough. Kick is good. Nick Bruno's the MVP, Jack, for today.
Yeah, no question about that.
So it's now 14-6 as Nick Bruno has kicked both a 36 and a 35-yard field goal into the wind here in the second quarter. First and 10 Panthers from their 20, operating into the wind in the third quarter. Lira motions out to a wide receiver on the right. Whitlow hands it through the middle. Good hold Duncan. 25-30 and up to the 34 goes Big Taylor Duncan. Duncan to the right of Whitlow in the shotgun. They fake it to Duncan. Back to pass Whitlow, throwing the bomb up the right side for Taylor, and he's got it at the 25 of Illinois State. A sliding catch by Anthony Taylor as he beat Mike Banks on the play. 21-6 Illinois State. Easton on the drive at the start of the third period. Fake handoff, Whitlow on the keeper, cuts inside, 10, 5, touchdown, Jalen Whitlow. He turned on a burst after he faked that handoff to Duncan and raced through the middle for the touchdown. Panthers answer with just what the doctor ordered to start the third period. They go 80 yards in 5 plays for the touchdown. Roberson will hand to Coppridge, right side, grab behind the line and drop for a loss. Grugier-Hill is there. And also Robert Haynes, if they got good penetration into the backfield. Whitlow back to pass, they blitzed him. He's back, goes to the left. Drake's got it 50, breaks the tackle 45. Drake angles left 40, 35, blocker in front 30. Drake to the 20 and out of bounds. Down around the 18-yard line. Roberson, not much room to operate here. Hands the ball to Graham, and this time he will not get out of the end zone, and that is going to be a safety. Eastern tackles James Graham in the end zone for a safety with 8:43 to go in the game. And now the score is Illinois State 34 and Eastern 15. Final score was Illinois State 34 and Eastern Illinois 15.
Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by the following supporters of WEIU.